Just over 3 months ago, I got the chance to my first ever visit out to Tivoli Gardens. Being located in Copenhagen, Denmark, this was actually a really easy place to get to. However, even though the lineup mainly consists of flat rides and also dark rides, they do also have a great selection of coasters. And on my visit, the one roller coaster which really stood out to me was Dæmonen. Making its debut back in 2004, this is the only been floorless coaster in the country. And in terms of the appearance, Dæmonen has one of my favourite colour schemes out there. This is due to the track being dark red and the supports being white. And I have to say that the park definitely made a great decision. This is due to fitting in both the park and also the area itself. However, what really surprised me was its theming. It's due to having a nice entrance line along with a heavily themed station. As much as the queue line was nice, it just didn't live up to the rest of the area. However, once the air gates open, you'll then board the trains, and unlike most bin floorless coasters, each of its 2 trains can hold a total of 24 riders, and even though it's quite uncommon for a large scale coaster, the least we had to wait was still 15 minutes. However, just like the track and supports, the trains also had a great colour scheme. This is due to them being both gold and also black, and I have to say that it definitely fits in with the theme. Something else to point out was that they also look great at night. This is due to them being surrounded by the track's lights and also the area itself, and I have to say this is made for some of my favourite trains in the country. However, once you pull down your restraint, you'll realise that the coaster has the over the shoulder restraints, and as much as I don't usually like these restraints, they didn't really bother me and still allow for some great hang time. Something else to mention was that they were actually quite comfortable. Overall, this makes for some great restraints along with the trains themselves. However, in terms of the layout, Dæmonen starts off with taking riders up its 92-foot lift hill, and I have to say that even though it isn't that tall, it still gives some great views over the park along with the city. However, once you reach the top of the lift hill, the coaster will then take you down the twisted drop, and I have to say that apart from the first twist being quite fun, it didn't really do anything. However, even though that's the case, just like the lift hill, you also get some great views over the park. However, next up, the coaster then takes you into a right hand turn, and instead of heading towards the ground, the coaster will then be rising you back up again. And I have to say that even though it wasn't anything special, it was still a fun element, and as much as the first half wasn't the best, the second half more than makes up for it. This is due to the coaster then taking you down its main drop, and I have to say this is one of my favourite drops at the park. This is due to it giving some great hang time on the front row, along with it also having some nice views over the park. And as much as the front was great, I definitely felt more towards the back of the train, and as much as it wasn't that strong, it still gave some nice flow whilst heading down it. Something else to mention was that the drop also starts off on an angle. However, next up, the coaster will then rise up into its first inversion, and I have to say that the valley was actually quite forceful, and as much as the back was still great, I definitely felt more force towards the front of the train. However, as I just previously mentioned, the coaster will then bring you up into its loop, and I have to say that actually gave some really good hang time. As much as you can find on most loops, I definitely felt it more noticeable on Dæmonen's. Something else to point out was that just like the valley, if you're located towards the front of the train, it can also be quite forceful. However, after this, the coaster will then bring you up into its Imolen, and I have to say that it's definitely one of the best looking inversions out there. This is due to it being slanted, along with it looking unlike any inversion I've seen. However, even though it looks amazing from off-ride, it also rides just as well. This is due to the front of the train being quite forceful, along with the back of the train being quite intense as well. And as much as the entry to the inversion was great, the exit just brings it on to the next level. This is due to the train starting off by giving some great hang time, and this was definitely some of the best on the coaster. However, if you're located towards the back of the train, you'll then be tugged through the exit, and I have to say that it definitely felt quite intense. However, after this, you'll then rise up into the 0G roll, and before riding, I wasn't expecting much from this element. This is due to most guests saying that it's one of the weakest inversions out there, and I'm not sure whether I just rode it on a good day or not. However, I have to say that it gives some great hang time along with even some forces. Overall, it made for a fun element and definitely a great inversion. However, next up, the train will then bring you into a left-hand turn, and just like most of the turns on this coaster, it didn't really do anything. However, I have to say that I definitely felt more force towards the front of the train, and as much as it wasn't strong, it was definitely something to point out. However, after this, the coaster then bring you into a right-hand turn, and just like the previous turn, it gave a bit of force towards the front of the train, but it was nothing to shout about. However, after this, the coaster then bring you up into its final brake run, and I have to say that it gave some decent airtime towards the front of the train. But in terms of the smoothness, Dæmonen was actually quite a smooth roller coaster, and as much as it did have a rattle towards the back of the train, it definitely wasn't painful. And I have to say that out of all 3 bin floorless coasters I've experienced, this was definitely the smoothest. But something else which I wanted to point out was the pacing. This is due to the coaster giving some great airtime, along with it rarely slowing down. However, if this is the case, I definitely felt like the inversions could have used a little bit more speed. However, something else to point out was that Dæmonen definitely warms up throughout the day, and as much as the morning rides are still great, you could definitely feel the coaster slowing down at points. However, if you'd like to experience it at its full potential, I'd personally recommend experiencing it within the summer months. But in terms of what road to head to, on my visit I got to experience the front, middle and also the back, and I have to say that as much as the middle and back were great, I definitely felt like the coaster was better on the front. This is due to getting some great airtime along with it also being quite forceful. However, what's my overall opinion on Dæmonen? Dæmonen is one of my favourite roller coasters in Denmark. This is due to give some great hang time along with some nice forces. Something else to point out was that Dæmonen also looks amazing from off-ride. This is due to have some nice theming along with the track itself. However, what is your opinion on Dæmonen? Make sure to leave any thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next one.